what happens to usage? If we've got a price freeze, a price cap, and people use the same amount of energy as we were using before, but there's less energy coming into the country, there's less gas flowing through the pipes in Europe, does that mean we're going to face blackouts?
No, I don't think we will at all. First of all, on the price cap itself, it's a cap on the unit price of electricity, the unit price of gas, and the charges to connect to the network. So the more you use, the more you pay. The less you use, the less you pay. And one of the things that has happened, I think, across this last 6 months, as the worry has increased and increased about what's going to happen to my gas bill, my electricity bill, and so on, is that everyone has looked very carefully at their own consumption. And even though, the average household, whatever that might be, is expected not to pay more than $2,500, it is actually $2,100, because that £400 automatically comes off. Nevertheless, it's substantially more than last year. And so the target of where people are now looking is, can I be more careful, either about the temperature that I'm running my house at, how long I have the heating on, or just simply turning off more lights or whatever. So I do think that overall we will be using less as households, and industry, of course, is looking at it even more closely than we are as domestic consumers.
So there's still that incentive structure, although perhaps a less strong incentive than if energy bills were 3 or 4 times higher.
Yeah, that's right.
There are some countries in Europe, though, that are looking at energy rationing. Germany has said this, Spain has said this. Is it credible to suggest that simply through voluntary action we will avoid that sort of rationing that's going on in the continent?
The answer is yes, it is credible. You see, Germany, for example, took all its gas, as you know, from Russia. Yes, it's got some storage, but it hasn't got any ports that can accept liquefied natural gas, the tankers. In fact, what we have been doing in this country, the tankers have been coming into the UK, we've been unloading them, gasifying them, shoving in the pipe and sending it to Europe. So the UK has really played its part in getting some of that storage full in Europe. But nevertheless, even though its storage is in a much better place, Germany, of course, has done a much worse job of its energy policy over the years than we have. I mean, it's only recently had a sort of proper transmission network. The different parts of the country have been a bit more isolated. It's shut down its nuclear and its coal. So the whole problem that Germany has got means that it cannot actually fulfill what its previous demand was. And so it's talking and is in fact doing the actions of shutting down power to, first of all, public buildings during certain times, and is talking strongly with industry about what to do with contractual interruptions. Same will take place in Italy, same will take place in Spain. Some, no doubt, will do it in a more structured way like Germany, others will be in a bit more ad hoc, which is going to be even worse. Here we are, of course, still connected to the North Sea. We take about 50% of our gas out of the North Sea. We've got long-term contracts with Norway. We import 10-15% of gas. We've got the not only the ports but the long-term contracts. It's going to be difficult. No two ways about it. It's going to be difficult, and we might be close sometimes on electricity, on the actual power. But I think that we're sufficiently secure to get through the winter.
On that electricity question, we're expecting this to not be a particularly windy winter. Some of the weather forecasts, the long-range weather forecasts that we've seen, are showing that it might be fairly still. And we do generate sometimes quite a bit of electricity now through wind turbines. Is the fact of not that much wind coming over the next few months going to be an issue?
Yes, it is. And you've actually hit a very valid point, because there's from about late January through to sort of end of February, you have this anticyclone sits across Europe. It's cold, it's not particularly sunny, and it's not particularly windy. And we all want everything to work. We want our industry on, and that is the point at which the power question really, really comes into play. Now, we're talking with keeping more of our nuclear generation running than had been the case. So that's good. We still have got 2 coal-fired power stations, so we've got that in place. But that is the time to look, how are we going to get through this? And I suspect there may be some staggering of start times of business, because, the big factories, they turn on, the 6 a.m. shift or the 7 a.m. shift all at the same time. Stagger that a bit, and you don't have quite so much of a pull on the grid. So do I think there might be some fancy footwork around there? The answer is yes, but I still think we'll make it.